to recap a little bit, I said in my last video that there are two major problems with the rebooted Star Trek universe. And in the last video we discussed the first of the two, and we'll discuss the second one this time. To restate what I stated before, these are not flaws that destroy the experience or anything like that. I happen to like all three of the new movies, and I thought especially this latest one actually goes a long way in fixing those problems. So, but we want to jump in, and the second problem of the rebooted universe is the relationships between the characters. Okay, so what if I told you that we were going to remake the show Friends, and we were going to, just kind of redo the whole series, but one change that we really want to make is that we want to really focus more on the Gunther character. Now, if you remember Gunther, Gunther's the guy in the coffee shop, either the owner or the manager, who kind of has this secret crush on Rachel, and he pops up every once in a while, and he's very, very funny. When we redo Friends, we're going to really focus on him. And right away, you're going to see how that changes a lot, right? Because first of all, he's not one of the friends. And so already the focus of the show is shifting. But secondly a lot of his humor was really kind of dark, and really played off the fact that he was this kind of lonely, pathetic character, and he was really funny and he was really sympathetic, but at the same time it's like to focus on him more is going to make this show darker than it was. And so immediately we're going to notice that we're remaking Friends, but we're not really, are we? I mean, what we're really doing is making a show that has the same setting and some of the same characters, but it really is a different show. And I think that when Star Trek was rebooted, that was the dynamic that was not fully considered. And so much of everything else was considered. But I think we forgot that Star Trek is not just a show about space exploration and action. It's a show about the relationship of these characters on this ship. And they took all the characters, and they have the same characters, but they're rearranged. And in rearranging it, you have a completely different dynamic. My single favorite part about the original series and the 6 movies with the original cast was the dynamic between Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. And in the first Star Trek rebooted movie, we're establishing the relationship between Kirk and Spock, and that's totally appropriate to do, and that was a good move on their part. But instead of McCoy coming in as the third person of this group, of this central group, we instead put Uhura in there. Now, I never had an overly big problem with Uhura as a character. I thought she was fairly interesting. Like a lot of people, I wasn't sure exactly what she was doing on the bridge. I really do like how they in the first rebooted movie filled out her role as a translator, and really kind of showed all the stuff that group of people were doing. I thought that was great. But putting her in that role completely changes the dynamics of the show, and not in a good way. The genius of the Kirk, Bones, and McCoy team is that they each come with their own approaches of things, and they balance each other just remarkably well. Kirk is the type who is just incredibly brave and valiant and is ready to jump at any situation, where McCoy is much more cautious on an emotional level, and Spock is just incredibly analytic. The three of them apart would get, I mean, they would just get each other killed. I mean, you know, Kirk would fly into something that he really shouldn't be flying into and die. Spock would spend all of his time analyzing stuff and do things strictly by numbers instead of bringing in all of the other concerns of, you know, of compassion, of justice, of that sort of thing. And McCoy would do things just on that gut instinctual level of humanity, and each one of them individually would get themselves in trouble. So you took out McCoy and you replaced him with this character that, even though her role is really beefed up, her character isn't. And I really thought that was a shame, because in the movie there wasn't much more to Uhura than just, you know, well, she's kind of Spock's emotional girlfriend. And if you're going to beef up that character, I really wish that you would spend a lot more time developing that character instead of just, you know, beefing her up by putting her in more scenes. So then we come to Star Trek Beyond, and frankly, they hit it out of the park. I mean, this is one area where they saw the problems from the previous two films and they fixed it. And Bones is in that movie like a ridiculous amount, and Uhura's role is pushed back more. But beyond pushing it back more, they actually separate her from Spock and let her develop her own character more, which I thought was a great move. And at the same time, they put Bones with Spock most of the time alone, the two of them, just to bicker at each other. And it was great because it harkened back to the old series where they did that a lot. And it's one of my favorite parts of the show. I've talked to enough people to know that it's one of a lot of people's favorite parts of the old show. So I feel like we've finally gotten that third leg of that friendship back, and the friendship was written very, very well, where it's not all, you know, it's not hugs and tender moments. It's the kind of bickering back and forth. It's the sarcasm. It's Bones being bewildered by Spock all the time, just you know, just staring at him like, what in the world are you thinking? And as much as I've liked the rebooted Star Trek and Into Darkness, that is the thing that I most missed about the original series in those movies that I wish we had. And Beyond brought it back. And so walking out, I think that was the first thing I said to my wife was, they got Bones right. And that was a huge deal for me. And so for the writers and director of Beyond, and especially the actors that made it happen, that was dead on. And so thank you for that. And look, I'm much more looking forward to the next one, because I feel like they're identifying the issues that they had, and they're hammering them out, and trying to make this series really excellent, and of the same kind of classic epic nature of the original. So all right, so thank you for watching. Those were the two main problems that I had with the rebooted Star Trek series. I very much enjoyed all three movies, especially the first reboot and Beyond, and definitely looking forward to the next. But in the meantime, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.